Shalom, shalom. I'll wait for a few people to come on before I start this reading. This is a heavy read. It came into my heart today to read it again. And because in my last video, I had made a comment that Yahusha was martyred, that he was murdered, and he was, but he laid himself down willingly. Shalom, 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 beautiful sister. How are you? It's been a while, huh? Shabbat shalom. And I remember YESHA'YAHU, I remember Isaiah, and how he too knew that he was going to die because he was told by the Ruach that he was going to die for the cause, and that he laid his life down willingly to die for the cause. And what was that? That was to speak about our Messiah, which was to come way, way after in the future. Hallelujah, hallelujah. So I'm going to start reading ALAH, YESHA'YAHU, the Ascension of Isaiah. It is a very, just get your tissues. Get your tissues. Okay. And it came to pass in the 26th year of the reign of YESHA'YAHU, king of Yehuda, Judah, that he called Manasseh his son. Now, he was the only one. And he called him into the presence of YESHA'YAHU, Isaiah, the son of Amos. Not many people know that, but Isaiah is the son of Amos, or Amos is how it's called, the prophet. A lot of people don't realize that. They don't put the two and two together, but yes, that was his father. So YESHA'YAHU, the son of Amos, the prophet, and into the presence of Yeshu, the son of YESHA'YAHU, Isaiah, in order to deliver unto him the words of righteousness, which the king himself had seen, and of the eternal judgments and torments of Gehenna. Some people may know that as hell. And of the prince of this world, and of his angels, and his authorities, and his powers, and the words of the faith of the beloved, which he himself had seen in the 15th year of his reign during his illness. Now Hezekiah, I don't know if you remember reading Isaiah, and if you remember reading Kings, but he did something very vile to the Most High. And Hezekiah the king, Isaiah was sent to him to tell him that he was going to die if he didn't repent. And he did repent. And so Father gave him an extra amount of years to his life if he turned away and repented of the things that he did. What he did was he showed the opposing army, the enemy, all of the gold and the riches from Yahweh's house. And then they came and plummeted that. Of course they would. They didn't know the importance of it. Clearly they didn't hear of the past, issues that occurred when people would steal, when the kings or the king's people would steal the father's, golden lamps and cups and whatever it is in the holy setting of Father, and what happened to them, right? Or how about when they stole the tabernacle and what happened there? So this is what happened to Hezekiah, and this is what it's talking about. And this book will reveal to you what happened truly to Isaiah, and what the book of Hebrews talks about. They were sawn asunder. They were sawn asunder, meaning Isaiah. Isaiah was sawn in half. with a wooden sword alive, but he was in the Ruach when it happened. He was in Shalom, if you can even picture that. While it happened, he was talking to Yahusha during that time, and he was in peace. And we're going to see that, how beautiful his laying his life down for the cause, for the truth, for righteousness, willingly laying it down and sealing it with blood. And he delivered unto him the written words which Samnus the scribe had written, and also those which YESHA'YAHU, Isaiah, the son of Amoz, had given to him, and also the prophets, that they might write and store up with him what he himself had seen in the king's house regarding the judgment of the angels and the destruction of this world, and regarding the garments of the Kodashim. Kodashim means set apart ones. So you are a Kodashim. And they're going forth and regarding their transformation and the persecution and ascension of the beloved. And the 20th year of the reign of Hezekiah, or YESHA'YAHU, as is written here, YESHA'YAHU had seen the works of this prophecy and had delivered them to YESHA'YAHU, his son. And whilst he, YESHA'YAHU, gave commands, YESHA'YAHU, the son of YESHA'YAHU, was standing by. YESHA'YAHU said to YESHA'YAHU, the king, but not in the presence of Manasseh. Now remember, Manasseh is the son of Hezekiah, okay? And he is the one that's going to turn evil. He's going to go completely evil, completely where he should not be. Only did he say unto King YESHA'YAHU, as Adonai lives, and the Ruach which speaks within me, all these commands and these words will be made of none effect by Manasseh your son. And through the agency of his hands I shall depart amid the torture of my body. And Samael Melchior will serve Manasseh and execute all his desires, and he will become a follower of Belial rather than of me. And many in Jerusalem and in Yehuda, so Jerusalem and Judah, he will cause to abandon the true faith, and Belial will dwell in Manasseh, and by his hands I shall be sawn asunder. And when YESHA'YAHU heard these words, he wept very bitterly, and rent his garments, and placed earth upon his head, and fell to his face. And YESHA'YAHU said unto him, the counsel of Samael against Manasseh is consummated. Nothing will avail you. And on that day, YESHA'YAHU resolved in his heart to slay Manasseh, his son. And YESHA'YAHU said to YESHA'YAHU, the beloved has made of none effect your design, and the purpose of your heart will not be accomplished. For with this calling have I been called, and I shall inherit the heritage of the beloved. The same death, not the same exact death of our Messiah, but he laid down his life willingly. And he died so he could be with the beloved Yahusha. The same one that Yahusha will then inherit hundreds of years later. And it came to pass, after that YESHA'YAHU died, and Manasseh became king, that he did not remember the commands of YESHA'YAHU his father, but forgot them. And Samael abode in Manasseh and clung fast to him. And Manasseh forsook the service of the Elohim of his father, and he served Satan and his angels and his powers. And he turned aside the house of his father, which had been before the face of YESHA'YAHU, from the words of wisdom and from the service of Elohim. And Manasseh turned aside his heart to serve Belial, for the angel of lawlessness, who is the ruler of this world. is Belial, whose name is Mantanbukas, and he delighted in Jerusalem because of Manasseh, and he made him strong in apostatizing Israel, and in the lawlessness which was spread abroad in Jerusalem. Witchcraft, magic increased in divination and auguration and fornication and adultery, and the persecution of the righteous by Manasseh and Belkariah and Tobiah and Canaim and Yochanan of Ananoth, and by Zadok, the chief of the works. And the rest of the acts, behold, they are written in the Sefer of the kings of Yehuda and Yasharal. I gotta get that Sefer. Let's read that again. The rest of these acts are, which is the martyrdom of all these prophets that we have in our 66 canon, are written in the kings of Judah and Israel, or Yehuda and Yasharal. And when YESHA'YAHU, the son of Amos, saw the lawlessness which was being perpetrated in Jerusalem, and the worship of Satan and his wantonness, he withdrew from Jerusalem and settled in Bethlehem of Yehuda. And there also was much lawlessness, And withdrawing from Bethlehem, he settled on a mountain in a desert place. And Micah, the prophet, and the aged Kenanyahu, and Joel, and Habakkuk, and his son Shear Yashuv, and many of the faithful who believed in the ascension into heaven withdrew and settled on that mountain. They were all clothed with garments of hair, and they were all prophets. And they had nothing with them, but were naked. And they all lamented with great lamentation because of the going astray of Yasharal, Israel. And these ate nothing save wild herbs, which they gathered on the mountains, and have cooked them. They lived thereon together with YESHA'YAHU the prophet, and they spent 2 years of days on that mountain and the hills. And after this, whilst they were in the desert, there was a certain man in Shamaron named Belkariah, of the family of Zedekiah, the son of Kenanah, a false prophet, whose dwelling was in Bethlehem. Now Zedekiah, the son of Shanani, who was the brother of his father, and in the days of Achiv, king of Yasharal, had been the teacher of the 400 prophets of Baal, and had himself smitten and reproved Micah, the son of Amadah, the prophet. And he, Micah, had been reproved by Achab and cast into prison. And he was with Zedekiah the prophet. And they were with Ezekiah, the son of Achiv, king in Shamaron. And Eliyahu, the prophet of Tiban of Gilad, was reproving Ezekiah and Shamaron, and prophesied regarding Ezekiah that he should die on his bed of sickness, and that Shamaron should be delivered into the hand of Lebanazar, because he had slain the prophets of Elohim. And when the false prophets who were with Ezekiah, the son of Achab, and their teacher Jaljaris of Mount Yoel, had heard, now he was the brother of Zedekiah, when they persuaded Azayahu, the king of Agron, and slew Micah. Hallelujah. I thank him every day. We truly don't know persecution. We just don't know it. We receive it, but we don't truly know it like they did. And Belkariah recognized and saw the place of YESHA'YAHU and the prophets who were with him, for he dwelt in the region of Bethlehem and was an adherent of Manasseh. And he prophesied falsely in Jerusalem, and many belonging to Jerusalem were confederate with him. And he was of Ashanaim. And it came to pass, when Elgar-Zagar, king of Bashur, had come in captive and led them away to the mountains of the Medes and the rivers of Tazon, this Belshazzar, while still a youth, had escaped and come to Jerusalem, in the days of YESHA'YAHU, king of Yehuda. But he walked not in the ways of the father of Shamaron, for he feared YESHA'YAHU, and he was found in the days of YESHA'YAHU speaking words of lawlessness in Jerusalem. And the servants of YESHA'YAHU accused him, and he made his escape to the region of Bethlehem. And Belshazzar accused YESHA'YAHU and the prophets who were with him, saying, YESHA'YAHU and those who are with him prophesy against Jerusalem, and against the cities of Yehuda, that they shall be laid waste, and against the children of Judah and Benjamin. Also that they shall go into captivity, and also against you, O Lord the King, that you shall go bound with hooks and iron chains. But they prophesied falsely against Israel and Judah. And YESHA'YAHU himself had said, I see more than Moshe the prophet. But Moshe said, no man can see Elohim and live. And YESHA'YAHU had said, I have seen Elohim, and behold, I live. Now this is interesting because Yahusha himself says no man has seen the Father except him. So we're supposed to rightfully discern, right? And divide the word. So let's just keep that in the back of our mind. Know therefore, O king, that he is lying, and Yerushalayim also he has called Sedom, and the princes of Yehuda and Yerushalayim he has declared to be people of Amorah, so Sodom and Gomorrah. And he brought many accusations against YESHA'YAHU and the prophets before Manasseh. But Belial dwelt in the heart of Manasseh. Belial also dwelt in the hearts of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the Sanhedrin when they took our Mashiach and placed him on that stake. Your father is what? He said to them, your father is Hashatan, Satan. And the Pharisee ripped his shirt. He was mad. And in the heart of the princes of Judah and Benjamin, and in the eunuchs, and in the counselors of the king. And the words of Belshazzar pleased him exceedingly, and he sent and seized YESHA'YAHU. For Belial was in great wrath against YESHA'YAHU by reason of the vision, and because of the exposure wherewith he had exposed Samael, and because through him the going forth of the beloved from the seventh heaven had been made known, and his transformation and his descent, and the likeness into which he should be transformed, that is, the likeness of man, and the persecution wherewith he should be persecuted, and the tortures wherewith the children of Yasharal should torture him, and the coming of his 12 apostles, and the teaching, and that he should before the Sabbath be crucified upon a tree, and should be crucified together with wicked men. And that he should be buried in a sepulchre, and the 12 who were with him should be offended because of him, and the watch of those who watch the sepulchre, and the descent of the angel of the called out assembly, which is in the heavens, whom he will summon in the last days. In that Gabriel, the angel of the Ruach HaKodesh, Holy Spirit, and Michael, the chief of the holy angels, on the third day will open the sepulchre. And the beloved sitting on their shoulders will come forth and send out his 12 Talmudim taught ones. And they will teach all the nations in every tongue of the resurrection of the beloved, and those who believe in his stake will be saved, and in the ascension into the seventh heaven from which he came. And that many who believe in him will speak through the holy Ruach, and many signs and wonders will be wrought in those days. And afterwards, on the eve of his approach, his Talmudim will forsake the teachings of the 12 apostles and their faith and their love and their purity. And there will be much contention on the eve of his advent and his approach. And in those days, many will love office, though devoid of wisdom. And there will be many lawless elders and shepherds dealing wrongly by their own sheep, and they will ravage them, owing to their not having holy shepherds. And many will change the honor of the garments of the Kodashim, the set apart ones, for the garments of the covetous. And there will be much respective persons in those days and lovers of the honor of this world. And there will be much slander and vainglory at the approach of Adon. And the Ruach HaKodesh will withdraw from many. And there will not be in those days many prophets, nor those who speak trustworthy words, save one here and there in diverse places. On account of the Ruach of error and fornication and of vainglory and of covetousness, which shall be in those who will be called servants of that one, and those who will receive that one. Shabbat Shalom, Lara, I love you. Who is that one? Belial. Remember I told you in past videos? The lawless one is already sitting within the people. We are the temple. We are the Haikal, the temple of the Most High. So you're either serving, you either have the name of the Father in between the frontlets of your eyes, like Revelation says, and your right hand will serve Father. Devarim 6, Deuteronomy 6. Or you will serve the lawless one that's given and taught in many religions, all religions. Let's just face it. And they will serve that, and they will have that name written upon their forehead, and their works, their right hand, will be for that lawless one. Who is that lawless one? That lawless one preaches that you don't have to do the commandments. You don't have to do the seventh day Sabbath rest. It is now the first day. Would Father change his commandments? I thought he changed not. I thought he was the same yesterday, today, and forever. Why all of a sudden he's changing his commandments? He is not. And there will be great hatred in the shepherds and the elders towards each other. For there will be great jealousy in the last days, for everyone will say what is pleasing in his own eyes. And they will make of none effect the prophecy of the prophets, which were before me, and these my visions also will they make of none effect, in order to speak after the impulse of their own hearts. You speak what your heart is full of. And now YESHA'YAHU and YESHA'YAHU, my son, these are the days of the completion of the world. And after it is consummated, Belial, the great ruler, the king of this world, will descend, who has ruled it since it came into being. Yea, he will descend from his expanse in the likeness of a man, a lawless king, the slayer of his mother, who himself, even this king, will persecute the plant, the called out assembly, you and I, which the 12 apostles of the beloved have planted. Of the 12, one will be delivered into his hands, Judas. This ruler in the form of that king will come, and there will come with him all the powers of this world, and they will hearken unto him in all that he desires. And at his word the sun will rise at night, and he will make the moon to appear at the 6th hour. And all that he has desired he will do in the world. He will do and speak like the beloved, like Yahusha. And he will say, I am Elohim, and before me there has been none. Sound familiar? And all the people in the world will believe in him. And they will sacrifice to him, and they will serve him, saying, this is Elohim, God. And beside him there is no other. And the greater number of those who shall have been associated together in order to receive the beloved will be turned aside after him. And there will be the power of his miracles in every city and region. And he will set up his image before him in every city. Come on. Anybody want to put down there who they think this could be? I'm about to tell you. And he shall bear sway 3 years and 7 months and 27 days. And many believers and Kodashim, having seen him for whom they were hoping, who was crucified, Yahushua HaMashiach. After that, I, YESHA'YAHU, had seen him who was crucified and ascended, and those also who were believers in him. Of these few in those days will be left as his servants, while they fleed from the desert to desert. Excuse me. Awaiting the coming of the beloved. And after 1,342 days, Adon will come with his angels and with his armies and the holy ones from the seventh heaven, with the glory of the seventh heaven, and he will drag Belial into Gehinnom, and also his armies. And he will give rest to the holy whom he shall find in the body in this world, and the sun will be ashamed. S-U-N. And to all who, because of their faith in him, have execrated Belial and his kings, but the Kodashim, the set-apart ones, will come with Adon with their garments, which are now stored up on high in the seventh heaven. With Adon they will come, whose Ruachoth spirits are clothed. They will ascend and be present in the world, and he will strengthen those who have been found in the body together with the Kodashim, in the garments of the Kodashim. And Adon will minister to those who have kept watch in this world. And afterwards they will turn themselves upward in their garments, and their body will be left in the world. Then the voice of the beloved will in wrath rebuke the things of heaven and the things of earth, and the mountains and the hills and the cities and the deserts and the forests, and the angel of the sun and that of the moon, and all things wherein Belial manifested himself and acted openly in this world. And there will be a resurrection and a judgment in their midst in those days. And the beloved will cause fire to go forth from him, and it will consume all godlessness. And they will be as though they had not been created. And the rest of the world of this vision is written in the vision of Babel. Here's another book that we need to get. In the vision of Babel, B-A-B-E-L. And in the rest of the vision regarding Adon, behold, it is written in the 3 parables according to my words, which are written in the Sefer, which I publicly prophesied, and the descent of the beloved into Sheol. Behold, it is written in the section where Adon says, behold, my son will understand. And all of these things, behold, they are written in the Telahim, which is the Psalms of David. the son of Yishi, Jesse, and Meshi of Shalomah, his son, and in his words of Korach and Ethan the Yisraeli, and in the words of Asaph, and in the rest of the Tehillim, also which the Malachim, or the angel of the Ruach, inspired, namely, and those which do not have the name written into the words of my father Amos, and of Hosea, the prophet of Micah, and Joel, and Nahum, and Jonah, and Obadiah, and Habakkuk, and Haggai, and Malachi, and in the words of Joseph, the just, and in the words of Daniel. On account of these visions, therefore, Belial was wroth with YESHA'YAHU, and he dwelt in the heart of Manasseh, and he sawed him asunder with a wooden sword. And when YESHA'YAHU was being sawn asunder, Belshazzar stood up, accusing him, and all the false prophets stood up, laughing and rejoicing because of YESHA'YAHU. And Belshazzar, with the aid of Nebuchadnezzar, stood up before YESHA'YAHU, laughing, deriding. And Belshazzar said to YESHA'YAHU, say, I have lied in all that I have spoken, and likewise the ways of Manasseh are good and right. Wow. And the ways also of Belshazzar, of his associates, are good. And this he said to him when he began to sawn and asunder. But YESHA'YAHU was absorbed in a vision. He was absorbed in a vision of our Adonai, and thought his eyes were open, and he saw them not. And Belshazzar spoke thus to YESHA'YAHU, say what I say unto you, and I will turn their hearts, and I will compel Manasseh and the princes of Judah and the people of all the Yerushalayim to reverence you. And YESHA'YAHU answered and said, so far as I have utterance, I say, damned and accused be you and all thy powers and all of your house, for you cannot take from me anything save the skin of my body. And they seized and sawed in sunder YESHA'YAHU the son of Amos with a wooden sword. And Manasseh and Belshazzar and the false prophets and the princes of the people, and they had all stood looking on. And to the prophets who were with him, he said before he had been sawn asunder, go you to the region of Sor and Sidon. For me only has ALAH mingled the cup. And when YESHA'YAHU was being sawn asunder, he neither cried aloud nor wept, but his lips spoke with the Ruach HaKodesh until he was sawn in two. This Belial did to YESHA'YAHU through Belikra and Manasseh for Samael. It was very wrathful against YESHA'YAHU from the days of Yizidkiyahu, king of Judah, on account of the things which he had seen regarding the beloved, and on account of the destruction of Samael, which he had seen through Adonai, while Yizidkiyahu, his father, was still king, and he did according to the will of Satan. The vision which YESHA'YAHU, the son of Amos, saw. Wow. The vision which YESHA'YAHU, the son of Amos, saw in the 20th year of the reign of Yizidkiyahu, king of Yehuda, came YESHA'YAHU, the son of Amos, and Yeshu, the son of YESHA'YAHU, to Yizidkiyahu, to Yerushalayim from Gilgal. And having entered, he sat down on the couch of the king, and they brought him a seat, but he would not sit thereon. And when YESHA'YAHU began to speak the words of faith and truth with King Yizidkiyahu, all the princes of Yesharal were seated, and the eunuchs and the counselors of the king. And there were 40 prophets and sons of the prophets. They had come from the villages and from the mountains and the plains, where they had heard that YESHA'YAHU was coming from Gilgal to YESHA'YAHU, and they had come to salute him and to hear his words, and that he might place his hands upon them, and that they might prophesy, and that he might hear their prophecy, and that they were all before YESHA'YAHU. And when YESHA'YAHU was speaking to YESHA'YAHU the words of truth and faith, they all heard a door which one had opened, and the voice of the Ruach HaKodesh, the Holy Spirit. And the king summoned all the prophets and all the peoples who were found there. And they had come, and Micaiah-Yahu, the aged Canaan-Yahu, and Joel, and Shear-Yashuv sat on his right hand and on the left. And it came to pass, when they had all heard the voice of the Ruach HaKodesh, they all worshipped on their knees and glorified the Elohim of truth, the El Elyon, who is in the upper world and who sits on high, the Holy One, and whose rests among his holy ones. And they gave glory to him, who had thus bestowed a door in an alien world, is what it says here, had bestowed it on a man. And as he was speaking in the Ruach HaKodesh, in the hearing of all, he became silent, and his mind was taken up from him. And he saw not the men that stood before him, though his eyes indeed were open. And moreover, his lips were silent, and his mind in his body was taken up from him. But his breath was in him, for he was seeing a vision. And the angel who was sent to make him see was not of this expanse, nor was he of the angels of glory of this world, but he had come from the seventh heaven. And the people who stood near did not think, but the circle of the prophets did, that the holy YESHA'YAHU had been taken up. And the vision which the holy YESHA'YAHU saw was not from this world, but from the world which was hidden from the flesh. And after YESHA'YAHU had seen this vision, he narrated it to YESHA'YAHU and to Shear-Yashuv, his son, and to the other prophets who had come. But the leaders and the eunuchs and the people did not hear, but only Samna, the scribe, and Yokib, and Asaph, the recorder. For these also were doers of righteousness, and the sweet smell of the Ruach was upon them. But the people had not heard. For Micah, and Shear-Yashuv, his son, had caused them to go forth, when the wisdom of this world had been taken from him, and he became as one dead. And the vision which YESHA'YAHU saw, he told to YESHA'YAHU, and Shear-Yashuv, his son, and Micah, and the rest of the prophets, and said, At this moment, when I prophesied according to the words heard which you heard, I saw a glorious Malachim, or angel, not like unto the glory of the Malachim, or the angel, which I used always to see, but possessing such glory and position that I cannot describe the glory of that Malachim, that angel. And having seized me by my hand, he raised me on high and said unto him, Who are you, and what is your name? And to where are you raising me on high? For strength was given me to speak with him. And he said unto me, When I have raised you on high through the various decrees and made you see the vision, on account of which I have been sent, then you will understand who I am. But my name you do not know, because you will return into this your body. But to where I am raising you on high you will see. And for this purpose have I been sent. And I rejoice because he spoke curiously to me. And he said unto me, Have you rejoiced because I have spoken curiously to you? And he said, And you will see how greater also that I am, will speak courteously and peaceably to you. And and his Father also, who is greater, you will see. For this purpose have I been sent from the seventh heaven, in order to explain all these things to you. And he ascended to the expanse, I and he, and there I saw Samael and his hosts, and there was great fightings therein, and the angels of Satan, were envying one another. And as above, so on the earth, also for the likeness of that which is in the expanse is here on the earth. And I said unto the angel who was with me, what is this war, and what is this envying? And he said unto me, so has it been since this world was made until now, that this war will continue until he whom you shall see will come and destroy him. And afterwards he caused me to ascend to that which is above the expanse, which is the first heaven. And there I saw a throne in the midst, and on his right hand, in the midst, and on his right and on his left were Malachims, angels. And the angels on the left were not like unto the angels who stood on the right, but those who stood on the right had the greater glory, and they all praised with one voice, and there was a throne in the midst, and those who were on the left gave praise after them. But their voice was not such as the voice of those on the right, nor their praise like the praise of those. And I asked the angel who conducted me, and I said unto him, to whom is this praise sent? And he said unto me, it is sent to the praise of him who sits in the seventh heaven, to him who rests in the Kodesh, holy world, and to his Yakid, beloved, from where I have been sent to you. And again, he made me to ascend to the second heaven. Now the height of that heaven is the same as from the heaven to the earth, and the expanse, and I saw there as the first heaven, angels on the right and on the left, and a throne in the midst, and a praise of the angels in the second heaven. And he who sat on the throne in the second heaven was more glorious than all the rest. And there was a great glory in the second heaven. And the praise also was not like the praise of those who were in the first heaven. And I fell on my face to worship him. But the angel who conducted me did not permit me. He said unto me, worship neither the throne nor the angel which belongs to the six heavens. For this cause I sent to conduct you, until I tell you in the seventh heaven. For above all the heavens and their angels has your throne been placed, and your garments and your crown, which you shall see. And I rejoiced with great joy that those who love El Elyon and his Yakid, his beloved, will afterwards ascend there by the angel of the Ruach HaKodesh. And he raised me to the third heaven. And in like manner I saw those upon the right and those are upon the left, and there was a throne there in the midst. But the memorial of this world is there unheard of. And I said to the angel who was with me, for the glory of my appearance was undergoing transformation, and I ascended to each heaven in turn. Nothing of vanity of that world is here named. And he answered me and said to me, nothing is named on the account of weakness, and nothing is hidden there of what is done. And I wished to learn how it was known. And he answered me, saying, when I have raised you to the seventh heaven from where I was sent, to that which is above these, then you shall know that there is nothing hidden from the thrones, and from those who dwell in the heavens, and from the angels. And the praises wherewith they praise and glory of him who sat on his throne was great, and the glory of the angels on the right hand and on the left was beyond that of the heaven which was below them. And again, he raised me to the fourth heaven, and the height from the third to the fourth heaven was greater than from the earth to the expanse. And there again I saw those who were on the right hand and those who were on the left, and him who sat on the throne was in the midst of there. Also, they were praising. And the praise and the glory of the angels on the right was greater than that of those on the left. And again, the glory of him who sat on the throne was greater than that of the angels on the right, and their glory was beyond that of those who were below. And he raised me to the fifth heaven. And again, I saw those upon the right hand and on the left hand, and him who sat on the throne, possessing greater glory than those of the fourth heaven. And the glory of those on the right hand was greater than that of those on the left. And from the third to the fourth, and the glory of him who was on the throne was greater than that of the angels on the right hand, and their praise was more glorious than that of the fourth heavens. And I praised him who was not named, and the holy begotten who dwells in the heavens, whose name is not known to any flesh, who has bestowed such glory on the several heavens, and who makes great the glory of the angels and more excellent the glory of him who sits on his throne. Chapter 8. Again, he raised me into the air of the sixth heaven, and I saw such a glory that I had not seen in the five heavens. And for I saw angels possessing great glory, and the praises there was holy and wonderful. And I said to the angel who conducted me, "What is this which I see, my Adonai?" And he said, "I am not your Adonai, your master, but your fellow servant." And again, I asked him, and I said unto him, "Why are there not angelic fellow servants on the left?" And he said, "From the sixth heaven there are no longer angels on the left, nor a throne set in the midst, but they are directed by the power of the seventh heaven, where dwells he that is not named, and the elect one, whose name has not been made known, and none of the heavens can learn his name. For it is he alone to whose voice all the heavens and the thrones give answer. I have therefore been empowered and sent to raise you here, that you may see this glory, and that you may see Adonai of all of those heavens and these thrones, undergoing successive transformation until he resembles your form and your likeness. I indeed say unto you, YESHA'YAHU, no man about to return into a body of that world has ascended or seen what you see or perceived that you have perceived and what you will see. For it has been permitted to you in the lot of Adonai to come here, and from there comes the power of the sixth heaven and of the air. And I magnified Adonai with praise, in that through his lot I should come here. And he said here, furthermore, therefore, this also from your fellow servant, when from the body by the will of Elohim you have ascended here, then you will receive the garment which you see, and likewise other numbered garments laid up. There you will see. And then you will become equal to the Malachim, to the angels of the seventh heaven. And he raised me up into the sixth heaven, and there were no angels on the left, nor a throne in the midst, but all that one appearance, and their power of praise was equal. And the power was given to me also, and I also praise along with them, and that angel also, our praise was like theirs. And they all named the primal Father and his beloved, the Mashiach, and the Ruach HaKodesh, all with one voice. And their voice was not like the voice of the angels in the five heavens, nor like their discourse, but the voice was different. There was much light there. And then, when I was in the sixth heaven, I thought the light which I had seen in the five heavens to be but darkness. And I rejoiced and I praised him who had bestowed such lights on those who wait for his promise. And I besought the angel who conducted me that I should not therefore return to the carnal world. I say indeed unto you, YESHA'YAHU and YESHA'YAHU, my son, and Micah, that there is much darkness here. And the angel who conducted me discovered that I thought and said, If in this light you do rejoice, how much more will you rejoice when in the seventh heaven you see the light where the Adonai and his beloved, from which I have been sent, who is to be called Son, in this world, not yet has been manifested. He shall be in the corruptible world, and the garments and the thrones and the crowns which are laid up for the righteous, and for those who trust that Adonai, who will descend in your form. For the light which is there is great and wonderful. And as concerning your not returning into the body, your days are not yet fulfilled for coming here. And when I heard that, I was troubled. And he said, do not be troubled. Well, welcome, Lisa. And I love you. Shabbat Shalom. And this is all esteem to the Most High Yahweh. I am nothing outside of him. He gives me this wisdom and this knowledge. Outside of him, I'm completely like, I don't know anything. So welcome. Chapter 9. We're almost done. It's 11 chapters. And he took me into the air of the seventh heaven. And moreover, I heard a voice saying, how far will he ascend that dwelleth in the flesh? And I feared and I trembled. And when I trembled, behold, I heard another voice being sent forth and saying, it is permitted to the holy YESHA'YAHU to ascend here, for here is his garment. I want you guys to picture yourselves, okay, during this time, because maybe many of you aren't ready to hear what Revelation says about his set apart ones. But we are martyrs, however that may look. And if we are not martyred, that doesn't make us less than anything. It makes us spared. It took me a long time to wrap my head around that. No way, I will not die. Jesus died for me. Why would I have to die? Why would I have to die? For his name's sake. That's pick up thy cross and follow after me. That's what I kept hearing. This was before I came to the truth. This is something that was so heavy on me for a long time that I've now accepted. The world can take my body, but it cannot take my nefesh, my soul. And if this is my lot, which is written in the book of Revelation, to the martyrs that are waiting for their blood to be avenged, and they're given a white robe. And what does he say to them? Hold on a little bit longer until the rest of you come into the fold, that have to die the way that you died. Pray on it. Ask Father. And I asked the angel who was with me and said, who is he who forbade me, and who is he who permitted me to ascend? And he said unto me, he who forbade you is he who is over the praise giving of the sixth heaven. And he who permitted you, this is your Adon Elohim Adonai Mashiach, who will be called Yahusha, or Joshua in English, in the world. But his name you cannot hear till you have ascended out of your body. And he raised me up into the seventh heaven, and I saw there a wonderful light, and angels innumerable. And there I saw the holy Avel and all of the righteous. And there I saw Hanok, so Abel, and Enoch, and all who were with him, stripped of the garments of the flesh. And I saw them in their garments of the upper world, and they were like angels standing there in great glory. But they sat not on their thrones, nor were there crowns of glory on them. And I asked the angel who was with me, how is it that they have received these garments, but have not the thrones and the crowns? And he said unto me, crowns and thrones of glory they do not receive until the beloved Yahusha will descend in the form in which you will see him descend into the world in the last days of Adonai, who will be called Mashiach. Nevertheless, they see and know those thrones and those crowns when he has descended and been made in your form, and they will think that he is a flesh and he is a man. And the Elohim of that world will stretch forth his hand against the sun, and they will crucify him on a tree, and he will slay him, not knowing who he is. And thus his descent, as you will see, he will be hidden even from the heavens, so that it will not be known who he is. And when he has plundered the angel of the death, he will ascend to the third day, and he will remain in the world 545 days. And then many of the righteous will ascend with him, whose ruachotes do not receive their garments until Adonai Mashiach ascends, and they ascend with him. Then indeed they will receive their garments and thrones and crowns, when he has ascended into the seventh heaven. And I said unto him that which I had asked him in the third heaven, show me how everything which is done in the world is here made known. And while I was still speaking with him, behold, one of the angels who stood nigh, more glorious than the glory of that angel who had raised me up from the world, showed me a sefer, a scroll. And he opened it, and the sefer was written, but not a sefer of this world. And he gave it to me, and I read it, and lo, the deeds of the children of Israel were written thereon, and the deeds of those whom I know not, my son YESHA'YAHU. And I said, in truth, there is nothing hidden in the seventh heaven which is done in this world. And I saw there many garments laid up, and many thrones, and many crowns. And he said unto me, these garments, many from that world will receive, believing in the words of that one who shall be named, as I told you, and they will observe those things and believe in him and believe in his stake or cross. And from them are these laid up. And I saw a certain one standing, whose glory surpassed that of all, and his glory was great and wonderful. And after I had seen him, and all the righteous whom I have seen, and also the angels whom I have seen, came to him, and Adam, and Abel, and Sheth, and all the righteous first drew near and worshipped him, and they all praised him with one voice. And I myself also gave praise with them, and my giving of praise was as theirs. And then all the angels drew nigh and worshipped and gave praise. And I was again transformed and became like a Malachim, an angel. And thereupon the angel who conducted me said to me, worship this one. And I worshipped and I praised. And the angel said unto me, this is the Adonai of all the praise givings which you have seen. And while he was still speaking, I saw another glorious one who was like him. And the righteous drew nigh and worshipped and praised, and I praised together with them. But my glory was not transformed into accordance with their form. And thereupon the angels drew near and worshipped him. And I saw Adonai, Master, and the second angel, and they were standing. And the second whom I saw was on the left of my Adonai. And I asked, who is this? And he said unto me, worship him, for he is the angel of the Ruach HaKodesh, who speaks in you, and the rest of the righteous. You see, he speaks to us, all who are righteous. And I saw the great glory in the eyes of my Ruach being opened, and I could not thereupon see, nor yet could the angel who was with me, nor all the angels whom I had seen worshiping Adonai. But I saw the righteous beholding with great power the glory of that one, And my Adonai drew nigh to me, and the angel of the Ruach, and he said, see how it is given to you to see Elohim, God. And on your account, power is given to the angel who is with you. And I saw how my Adonai and the angel of the Ruach worshipped, and they both together praised Elohim, and thereupon all the righteous drew near and worshipped. And the angels drew near and worshipped, and all the angels praised. Chapter 10. And thereupon I heard the voices and the givings of the praises, which I had heard, and each of the six heavens ascended and being heard there. And all were being sent up to that glorious one whose glory I could not behold. And I myself was hearing and beholding the praise which was given to him. And Adonai and the angel of the Ruach were beholding all of the hearing, all and hearing all. And all the praises which are sent up from the six heavens are not only heard, but seen. Wow. He spoke the world in existence. So profound. And I heard the angel who conducted me, and he said, this is the El Elyon on the high ones, dwelling in the holy world and resting in the holy ones, in us, who will be called by the Ruach HaKodesh through the lips of the righteous, the Father of Adonai. And I heard the voice of El Elyon, the Father of my Adonai, saying to my Adonai Mashiach, you may know him as Christ, who will be called Yahusha. Go forth and descend through all the heavens, and you will descend to the expanse, and that world, to the angel in Sheol, which is otherwise known as hell. And you will descend, but to Haguel you will not go. And you will become like unto the likeness of all of those who are in the five heavens, and you will be careful to become like the form of the angels of the expanse. And the angels also are who are in Sheol. Why are there angels in Sheol? If you all don't know, if you're not familiar with Enoch or even Genesis, where it speaks about the angels who, the Ben Ha-Alhim, or the angels of the Father that fell from heaven and did and slept with the women of the earth. They did great horrible things, and they mixed their seed, creating giants, Nephilim and Nephilim, and they did horrible things, mixing and cutting of roots, distributing in makeup for the eyes, jewelry for the ears and for the nose. They, creating arms and swords to fight with. They gave the secrets of the Shamayim, of the heavens, and this was an abomination to the Most High. They also interbreeded animals with humans, and created what we know now as dinosaurs. But they were beasts, and they were horrible, detestable beasts, so much so to the point where Father flooded the great deluge of the earth. And we are not millions and billions of years old, by the way. We're thousands. We're almost in completion. And they shall not know that you are with me until with a loud voice I have called. And you will become like the likeness of all of those who are in the five heavens, and you will be careful to become like the form of the angels of the expanse, and the angels also who are in Sheol. And none of the angels of the world shall know that you are with me of the seven heavens and their angels. And they shall not know that you are with me until a loud voice I have called to the heavens and their angels and their lights, even unto the sixth heaven, in order that you may judge and destroy the princes and the angels and Elohim, false gods, or the fallen angels of that world, and the world that is dominated by them. For they have denied me and said, we alone are there, and none beside us. And afterwards, from the angels of death, you will ascend to your place. and you will not be transformed in each heaven, but in the glory you will ascend and sit at my right hand. So sit at the right hand of the Father. And thereupon the princes and the powers of the world will worship you. These commands I heard the great glory giving to my Adonai. And so I saw my Adonai go forth from the seventh heaven into the sixth heaven. And the angel who conducted me from this world was with me and said unto me, understand, YESHA'YAHU, and see the transformation and descent of Adonai will appear. And I saw, and when the angel saw him, thereupon those in the sixth heavens praised and lauded him, for he had not been transformed after the shape of the angels there. And they praised him, and I also praised with them. And I saw when he descended into the fifth heaven that in the fifth heaven he had made himself like unto the form of the angels there, and they did not praise him nor worship him, for his form was like unto theirs. And then he descended into the fourth heaven and made himself like unto the form of the angels there. And when they saw him, they did not praise him or laud him, for his form was like unto their form. And again I saw when he descended into the third heaven, and he made himself like unto them in that third heaven. And those who kept the gate of the third heaven demanded the password, and the Adonai gave it, and to them in order that he should be recognized. And when they saw him, they did not praise or laud him, for his form was like unto their form. And again I saw him descend into the second heaven, and again he gave a password there. Those who kept the gate proceeded to demand, and Adonai gave it. And I saw them, and he made himself like unto the form of the angels in the second heaven. And they saw him, and they did not praise him, for his form was like unto their form. And again I saw when he descended into the first heaven, and there was also gave the password to those who kept the gate, and he made himself like unto the form of the angels who were on the left of that throne. And they neither praised nor lauded him, for his form was like unto their form. But as for me, no one asked me on the account of the angel who conducted me. And he descended into the expanse where dwells the ruler of this world, and he gave the password to those on the left. His form was like theirs, and they did not praise him there either, but they were envying one another and fighting. For there is the power of evil and envying and trifles. And I saw when he descended that he made himself like unto the angels of the air, and he was like one of them. And he gave no password, for one was plundering and doing violence to another. After this I saw the angel who spoke with me, who conducted me, said unto me, understand, YESHA'YAHU, son of Amos, for this purpose have I been sent from Elohim. And I indeed saw a woman of the family of David, the prophet, named Miriam, and a virgin. She was espoused to a man named Joseph, a carpenter, and he also was of the seed of the family of the righteous David of Bethlehem, Yehuda, Judah. And he came into his lot, and when he was espoused, he was found with child. She was found with child. It's like, what? And Joseph, the carpenter, was desirous to put her away. But the angel of the Ruach appeared in this world. And after that, Joseph did not put her away, but kept Miriam, you may know her as Mary, and did not reveal this matter to anyone. And he did not approach Miriam, but kept her as a Kodesh, or a holy virgin, through the child. And he did not live with her for 2 months. And after 2 months of days, while Joseph was in his house, and Miriam his wife, but both alone, it came to pass that when they were alone, that Miriam straightway looked with her eyes and saw a small babe, and she was astonished. And after she had been astonished, her womb was found as firmly before she had conceived. And when her husband Joseph said unto her, what has astonished you? His eyes were opened, and he saw an infant, and praised Elohim, because into this portion Elohim had come. And a voice came to them, tell this vision to no one. And the story regarding this infant was noised abroad in Bethlehem. Some said the Virgin Mariam was born a child before she was married 2 months, and many said she had been born a child. Nor has a midwife gone up to her, nor have we heard the cries of labor pains. And they were all blinded respecting him. They all knew regarding him, though they knew not from where he was. And they took him and went to Nazareth in Galilee. And I saw, O YESHA'YAHU and YESHA'YAHU, my son, and I declared to the other prophets also who were standing by, that this has escaped all the heavens and all the princes and all the Elohim of this world. And I saw that in Nazareth, he sucked the breast as a babe, and as he customary in order that he might, and as is customary, in order that he might not be recognized. And when he had grown up, he worked great signs and wonders in the land of Israel and of Jerusalem. And after this, the adversary envied him and roused the children of Israel against him, not knowing who he was. And they delivered him to the king and crucified him. And he descended to the angel of Sheol. In Jerusalem, indeed, I saw him being crucified on a tree. And likewise, after the 3rd day, rise up again and remain days. And the angel who conducted me said, understand, YESHA'YAHU. And I saw when he sent out the 12 apostles and ascended, and I saw him, and he was in the expanse, but he had not changed himself into their form. And all of the angels of the expanse and the Satans saw him, and they worshipped. And there was much sorrow there, while they said, how did our Adonai descend in our midst? And we perceive not the glory which has been upon him, which we see has been upon him in the 6th heaven. And he ascended into the 2nd heaven, and he did not transform himself, but all the angels who were on the right and on the left and in the throne of the midst both worshipped him and praised him and said, how did our Adonai escape us whilst descending? And we perceived not. And in a likeness manner he ascended to the 3rd heaven, and they praised, and they said in like manner. And in the 4th heaven, and in the 5th also, they said precisely after the same manner. But there was one glory in form. He did not change himself. And I saw when he ascended into the 6th heaven, and they worshipped and glorified him. But in all the heavens, the praises increased in volume. And I saw how he ascended into the 7th heaven, and all the righteous and all the angels praised him. And then I saw him sit down on the right hand of the great glory, whose glory I told you that I could not behold. And also the angel of the Ruach HaKodesh I saw sitting on the left hand. And this angel said unto me, YESHA'YAHU, son of Amos, it is enough for you have seen what a child of flesh has seen, and you will return into your garment of the flesh until your days are completed. Then you will come here. These things YESHA'YAHU saw and told unto all that stood before him, and they praised. And he spoke to YESHA'YAHU the king and said, I have spoken these things, both the end of this world and all of this vision will be consummated in the last generations. And YESHA'YAHU made himself swear that he would not tell it to the people of Yasharal, nor give these words to any man to transcribe. Such things you will read and watch, you in the Ruach HaKodesh, in order that you may receive your garments and thrones and crowns of glory, which are laid up in the 7th heaven. On account of these visions and prophecies, Samael, Satan, sawed in asunder YESHA'YAHU, the son of Amos, the prophet, and by the hand of Manasseh. And all of these things YESHA'YAHU delivered into Manasseh in the 26th year. But Manasseh did not remember them, nor place these things in his heart, but becoming the servant of Satan, he was destroyed. Here ends the vision of YESHA'YAHU, the prophet, with his ascension. That is it. I hope that blessed you in some way. I know it did me. There were some things I'm going to take to Father. It's a beautiful book. It's a beautiful scroll. If you want to This is the book that I read it from. It's the Book of the Heavens, Shemaim. You can go to the Sefer Academy. They have it, and it has all the books in it. Let me see if I can find it so I can read it off to you. It has the Covenant Torah, the Apocalypse of Peter, the Vision of Paul, First Enoch, Second Enoch, the Apocalypse of Moses, the Apocalypse of Abraham, the Alphabet of David, the Alphabet of Ben Sirach, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, First Baruch, Second Baruch, Third Baruch, the Ascension of Isaiah, the Gospel of John, the Revelation of Jesus, of Yahushua HaMashiach. So I hope this blessed you. Thank you for spending time with me today on this Sabbath. I'm going to cut it off now. I love you all so, so much. Go in shalom. Remember to praise the Most High today, and try to get with a group of people. I know that's hard for a lot of people right now, but if you pray diligently, Father will bring people of like-minded to you. And remember, we have to get out there in the world, and we have to wake up these people. We have to. And a lot of them you will wake up, and you'll never see again. But perhaps maybe Father will show you the fruits of that someday, and that will be your rejoicing. And so you are loved, and rejoice with me, because many are added to the book of life daily, and we need to rejoice with the Most High in this, because it is the most beautiful gift when we lay down our skin for our Messiah and pick up our stakes and follow after him. Shabbat Shalom, family. I love you with all my heart.